getting a little old. It's got these crow's feet right here, you could call them. I'm going to indicate his other eyebrow. It's a little higher, sits up here. And I'm going to cut this out like the other one. And then paint some in. He's got some crazy eyebrows. Older he gets, I notice they're starting to fly away a little bit. Right around here. Whoa. And then I'm going to erase some right here to try to sell that effect. A lot of line drawings are based on selling an effect, selling an illusion of implied mass, of implied shape. You know, whatever it is you're trying to suggest with your simplified lines. That seems to be, what the purpose of it is, what the method is. I notice that this doesn't have as much shape to it as the other one. It's a little more random. Go ahead and rework that. I want it to be consistent. I want to be consistent. That's another big thing. Even if it's within features, from one eyebrow to the next, you want to be consistent. And go ahead and erase some of this. And I'm going to keep it simple because of time. You could always go in and, there we go, fix this up later, but I want to keep it nice and simple for now. Another good thing that will help you recognize what to exaggerate about an individual is watch some video or a movie with them. TV show, whatever you can find. If you can find video of an individual and see how they move in 3D space, how their face works when they talk, that really helps. See, I'm still erasing some areas. Keep that kind of light. And I really enjoyed this line coming off his eyebrow, and this line right above it. I'm choosing to put certain lines in, and I'm choosing to keep certain lines out, and that has a lot to do with this drawing. That's a big part of the style. It's a big part of what I'm doing in general with this piece. It's all about decisions. And what decisions you make and what you stick with, whether it looks like them or not. Alright, so I'm going to finish this up pretty quick right now. Just going to block in the outer shapes because you've seen the general work of the line and how you can work with line weight, the shape of it, making it cell dimension or thickness, using thin areas, when it recedes back where you go light and dark. In my book, Rejects, I definitely have a lot of, they're all black and white marker drawings. They're color. Let me correct myself. They're color drawings, but they started as a black and white marker drawing. So you can see line weight, you can see sort of a brushy look to it, even though I've used what's called a Dixon Marquette quite a bit in it. If you go check out the website and see some of the previews, it's rejectsthebook.com. Or you can just buy one and take a look at every single drawing in it, and that would make me smile. But the point is that you want to use line weight to your advantage. You want to have thin lines and thick lines in certain areas, both indicating something that's light on the face, something you don't want to bring attention to, something that's massive or it has weight to it, something that recedes in space. There's so many different reasons to vary your line weight, and once you practice it, you can get control over it and you can get a feel for it. But I honestly feel that you're not going to know when to pull that out, when to really use it to your advantage unless you just practice and try it, because it's not something that there's rules for. You can give yourself guidelines, you can listen to someone who tells you what the rules are, but it's not going to be 100% every time. It's not going to be true in every time you approach it in every drawing, and you'll be a very you have a very stagnant look to your drawings if you only apply certain rules to your line choices and to your line weight. So you definitely want to practice with it. It's nothing that you can go, oh, I watched a video. I watched that caricature of Bill Murray. Now I know where to put dark and light lines because I saw it a few times. No, you want to sit down and actually draw. Go buy a Faber-Castell Pitt pen, or buy a Tombow marker, any kind of brush pen. Buy a Copic ink marker. There's so many different options you have out there that are just brush tips, or that are, you can even use a Prismacolor pencil, even a regular pencil. Draw it and trace over the line in some areas and make it a little wider, even if you have to trace out edges and then fill them in. You can use just about anything and try to practice with line weight, because it's a very important tool to have, I feel, when you're drawing, especially if you ever draw anything fast, if you're drawing theme park characters or party caricatures, if you're doing storyboards for a living, if you're doing concept art, if you're doing animation, you're going to need dark and light lines. Even a lot of illustrators, when they illustrate, they use a cartoony look. And line weight is worth its weight in gold, no pun intended. It just happened. Boy, I had a fun time. My friend Mark Stanger, he works in Orlando. He's a caricature artist, crazy old guy. He draws caricatures at SeaWorld, and he loves puns, really bad puns. I told him one. I showed him a nice situation that he loved. On the back of my book Rejects, you'll see this codger on there, and that's Mark. Looks like an ape, looks like a monkey. He's a funny-looking guy, and he knows it, and he enjoys it. And there's also a drawing of him on the inside. And when I was selling a book, a small book I had back in the day, I had sketches of people that I work with, and my coworkers were like, you should bind a copy of that, I'll buy it. And I said, okay, so I spent the money to bind it, and I had everyone buying it, just that I work with. It was nothing big, it wasn't a big deal. And it was a Kinko's, Kinko's publication. So I had this book, and I finished it, and I sold it to all my coworkers. And Mark, for some reason, didn't have the money when he needed it, but he wanted to take it home. So I let him do that. I knew I worked with him. I knew where he got his money from, so I knew I would get the money from him. And it took him months to pay me. Well, I saw him buying new books, and he's a habitual book buyer. He loves the art books, and he constantly is getting the new ones. Well, he decided that he's going to go buy some new concept books, and I was at Barnes & Noble the night before. I saw this new book. I looked at the price because I kind of liked it. It was $30, and I passed on it. Well, I go into work, and I say, hey, Mark, you got my $30? He's like, no, I don't have any money. And I saw him pull out that book, and I knew that it was just released the night before because I had heard of it. So he bought this $30 book when he owed me $30. So if you look in Rejects, if you find the book, the drawing of the monkey-looking guy with glasses and the big forehead, Mark Stanger, he lives in Orlando, and I drew him with a $30 book, and I was a little bitter about it, so I put in the drawing, new $30 book. That's the story behind that sketch, why I have those words written on the book. And he loved the fact that my book cost $30. He showed up at Comic-Con. I said, hey, Mark, look at that. This is a little brain teaser for you. You're on the back of a $30 book, which you're inside holding a $30 book, and you're about to buy the whole thing. He started laughing and slapping his knee. And if you know Mark, you know how much he would appreciate that. He's a crazy guy, likes weird things, likes silly, terrible puns. But I enjoyed that. We used to spend lots of time at SeaWorld coming up with bad puns just to entertain him. I'm sure they still do. I can't imagine that they would ever stop doing that, because he's a real fun person. Real weirdo, but a fun person. Gotta love Mark. So anyway, I didn't mean to tell a pun earlier, but I did mean to tell that story. So sometimes coming up with appealing curves to these lines is important. I'm just going to trail this off right there. Just keep it messy, because that's what's important about this one, is that his hair is messy, not that it looks a certain way. So I'm just about to finish up. I'm going to end up this side of the face, and then we'll be all done. I'll throw one color or two colors on there, just in a basic like filling an area approach, and then you'll see how it looks, and hopefully you stick it out to the end of this. I don't want anyone leaving early. I want you to see the finished